You're listening to the Staffa Corner Podcast, a Staffa-tarian look at entertainment and life with your host, Greg Staffa.
My guest this episode is best known for her starring role as Mayday Malone in the 2024 film Roswell Delirium. She has appeared in several television series, including Outer Range, Mood Swings, and more. She's also appeared in films such as Post-Trip Issues, Her Secret Family Killer, and Burning Little Lies. Right now, she has a new film out on Apple TV and Amazon, which came out November 4th, which is A Christmas Mystery. Kylee Levien, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So you're 16 and you already have an amazing resume of film work, TV work. But let's start a little bit about your childhood, which many might consider that you're still in. But let's start about growing up. What was that like for you and where are you from?
Yes, so I have been in the acting industry for 9 years. My dad was in the Air Force before that for 17 years. So I was actually born in Delaware, and we moved around all the time growing up. And then we settled eventually in California about 10 years ago. And then that's when I started acting and started building a home and roots in California. But yeah, I think growing up as a military brat has taught me a lot about just being social with adults and with anybody in any age range, and just being responsible and making friends easily and connecting to people quickly. So I think I grew up as like a very well-rounded person growing up with moving from home to home for a while, but I had the best childhood.
Now, one may think that doing all that bouncing around, it might not be easy to make friends. Was acting kind of a way to change who you are or to present yourself in a different way that kind of escaped from that bouncing around and having to kind of reinvent yourself each time?
I think a little bit. I think every time that I would have an audition or I would find a new character to be, I kind of just escaped my reality and created this version of a life that is true fit to the character instead of Kylee Levien, you know? Since I moved around a lot, I was always the new person, and acting became a really big space where I didn't have to fit in right away. And I feel like everywhere else, you kind of did have to fit in or you were an outlier. So I could just be myself. And it let me explore parts of myself that didn't always come out in real life, especially when everything around me kept changing and moving. But definitely every role felt like a safe place to express something else. Even if it wasn't exactly me, I could still find pieces of myself and create this version of a life that I've always wanted or I've always thought would be so cool to have.
What were your parents' reaction to you wanting to explore acting?
So my parents actually got me started in the industry. My siblings, I have 3 older siblings, and they did it when they were younger. And I remember one time I watched my siblings on a commercial and I was like, I want to do that when I'm older. I think that'd be so, so cool. And my parents, my mom is my biggest supporter. She was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So I signed with the agent that my brother was with and my manager. Then it just took off from there. I fell in love with it and I never wanted to stop.
And what was your first actual acting gig where you got to see yourself on TV?
I think my first acting job was Mood Swings, or it might have been The Rabbit Hole, which is a short film, or my Lifetime movie, Her Secret Family Killer. I think I filmed those all within the same couple years, so it kind of gets mixed up. But I remember seeing myself on the big screen, and I couldn't believe it because this was a dream come true for me, and it was so surreal because it was a really big full circle moment for me, knowing that I once watched my siblings and now I'm watching myself and watching my own dreams come true.
Now, you're a young woman, but you've had a already a lot of films and stuff that you've done. When you come onto a set or a TV show, how is the reaction as far as how are you treated by the other actors and actresses? Are you feel like you're taken seriously, or are you viewed as, you're the kid, so go over there in your kid area, and when we need you, we'll call you? How are you treated in the industry?
I've been really lucky to have been around sets that have made me feel very welcomed and respectable. There have been some instances where they will look at me and think I'm just like a crazy, chaotic kid that doesn't know what she's doing and is just, it just blows up. And I mean, I have met kids that I understand where they're coming from when they view that, because I've worked with kids that have no idea what they're doing and just think this is playtime and not a job to do. But I've quickly like shown other people when I get on set, I show people that I'm there for work and I'm there to do a good job and I'm there to be passionate about what I'm doing. And I think that a lot of people learn that about me within the first day of being on set. So I've been really lucky to be in those kind of environments where I've been very respected. And there's a lot of support, like making sure I have breaks or I get my schoolwork done. But creatively, they definitely trust me and my value and of my input that I have for the scenes. And so I've always been taken seriously in that concept because I've proved myself right away.
I look at back when I was 16 and I was an idiot. I'm 50 years old now, and at 16 I was an idiot. If you asked me what I wanted to do when I grow up, I would have no real clue.
Right.
How is it at your age to know that this is what you want to do? You're still kind of figuring out who you are.
Yeah.
Is acting what you see as the long-term career, or is this something that I'm enjoying now? I take it seriously. I'm doing my job, but I still have a future ahead of me.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a little bit of both. I definitely see acting as a long-term career, but I don't want it to be the only thing that I do. I don't want to be constricted in that environment. I still want to go to college. I want to major in something completely different than acting. Right now I'm set on sports management. I'm a figure skater right now, so I'd also love to pursue that. I'd either love to become a coach or I'd love to manage a sports team. I think that'd be super, super cool. Acting is still one of my top priorities, and I can see myself going a long way with it. And I think at such a young age, no, I think when you really, really love something, whether that's a sport or a career, I feel like you just know. Like for me, acting has never felt like a phase. It's just always been the thing that makes me feel the most alive. Even when I was like a lot younger, I didn't just like watching movies, I wanted to be in them. And I would manifest that. So to tell stories that would make people feel something, whether that's joy or tears, whatever it may be, for me, it's not about like the fame or the attention. It's just about the feeling you get when you're fully in a scene and everything else disappears. And I think that's how I know that I'm on the right track in my life. That's how I know that this is what I'm meant to do and what to be.
Does it get frustrating as a young 16-year-old to have adults questioning your commitment to this, or is it just something that you have to deal with as a 16-year-old saying, I'll show them in my work, not in them? I mean, it has to be frustrating because I assume there's a lot of judgment, positive and negative, that you have to overcome because, like I said, just putting it into my shoes, I wasn't taken seriously as a 16-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
How is that an added burden that you see as an actress, or once you get on set, you're there to do your job and that action proves them wrong, and so it doesn't matter to you?
I definitely get where the people are coming from. It's natural for like them to question how serious someone at my age, at 16 years old, could really get about having this career. They think it could be just a phase or just something that's a little hobby, you know? But honestly, I never take it personally because I've always had that atmosphere. People have always questioned and judged my motives, but I just let my actions speak for me. I show up prepared, I stay professional, and I give my best every single time. And once people see that consistency, they stop questioning it and they stop judging me for it. It's actually pretty motivating because it pushes me to keep proving that I belong here and I belong in this industry.
You're at an age, and I hate going back to your age so much,
No
but
worries.
you're at an age where you're doing the acting. You're also a U.S. figure skater. Do you have time to also be a 16-year-old? Is there that kind of balance in there that you can still, dating should be something that's coming up for you, school proms or stuff like that. Are you able to be the actress, but also the kid at the same time and have those life experiences? Or is this you're working in an adult industry of acting and that's what you're focused on?
I think it's difficult to spread your priorities out based off of like boys and school and figure skating and acting. There's just a million things going on in my life. And I don't think that there's a perfect balance right now. I'm still trying to figure it out because when you're chasing something you really love, it's so easy to pour your entire self into it. But I've also realized that balance doesn't always mean like equal time. Sometimes it just means making space to breathe, to be with friends, or to, like you were saying, just be a kid for a second. And I'm slowly learning that along the way. I definitely have been in situations where I've had to put my career first, where I've had to say no to dating or boyfriends because of my career, or I've had to miss out on high school hangouts and friends getting together because of my career. And I think when you put something first all the time, it's really difficult to find that equal balance outside of it. But I know that I know that there's a plan for my life and I know that God is good and I will end up on the right track sometime, but I'm also 16. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'm the type of person that I just want to do everything. I never want to stop learning, and that could be a really good thing and a really bad thing, but I'm finding the equal balance.
And one final question regarding your age, because I read about this and maybe it's wrong because nothing on the internet is always true. But I read that you're 16 years old and you don't like candy. Is that correct?
That is correct. Don't hate me.
What, just candy in general, or is there a specific kind? What young person does not like candy?
I actually get this question all the time. I think I'm just built different. No, it's all candy in general. There's only one candy that I'll eat, actually, and it's those Haribo Sour Patch gummy bears. It's so specific and it's really hard to find in stores, but that's the only candy I'll eat. It's really weird.
Okay. Moving on then. You also do American Sign Language. What got you started in that?
I felt really passionate about it. I felt calling to do a language that I've never heard of and I've never experienced before. So I actually started taking American Sign Language when I was in 7th grade, I think, and it was my choice of language. And I remember at my 8th grade promotion speech, I talked a lot about American Sign Language and how important it is to bring awareness to the deaf community and incorporate that in daily lives, because I feel like that's something that is either misguided or it's just not talked about enough. And so I would love to do a project in the future where I can embrace American Sign Language and I can bring that to light. That would be another dream role of mine.
And then let's talk about your acting a little bit. One of the things that you've done is you were a stunt double in the 2023 Netflix series Rebel Moon. How
Mhm.
did that come about? Were you just the right size and looked for being a stunt double and they said she's expendable, let's have her do it? Or what was that like?
Yeah, so I was a photo double and a stunt double, and I looked identical to this girl. Her name is Stella Fitzgerald, and it's so funny. We took a picture back to back. We're the same height. We had the same hair texture, the same color hair. We were like the same color skin, like everything looked identical. So they found me and they were like, you look like our girl. So that was a really cool experience because I got to experience what it's like to be a stunt double and photo double. And kind of, I've seen photo doubles and stunt doubles in my work before, playing like a version of me, but I've never been one myself. So that was a really cool new adventure that I got to go on.
What were some of the physical things that you got to do?
In that film, I had to fall like a lot because I was getting shot in the chest area. But I've also done stunt work on my film Roswell Delirium. And in that one, I was held up by a crane suspended in the air. And I got to do some other cool stuff. But that also tested my abilities.
Wow. Being suspended in the air, that does not sound fun. Well,
It was definitely interesting.
let's talk about Christmas Mystery, your new film out on November 4th on Apple and Amazon. Tell us a little bit about your role in that.
So I play the daughter of the town sheriff, and we've been to this town for 6 months. We lived here, and my mom's already found a new job somewhere else. She isn't the settled down type, and I am. In this film, I get to explore the character of someone who doesn't like moving around, whereas I, as Kylee Levien, did love moving around because it showed me different places and different people. But Leia Willows, the character I play, she hates it. And she just wants to make friends and build roots in a town that she can call her home. And so throughout the film, her and her mom have this emotional bond where it's kind of like push and pull. She's trying to get her mom to stay here and to build roots and learn what Christmas is all about. But she's a Grinch, and I am just trying to learn that it's also okay to let go and kind of fight through the grief that I'm going through in this film, losing a dad and going through another Christmas where I don't have anybody. And so it's that equal balance of love-hate relationship between Christmas, and I think it's a great Christmas movie that everybody should go watch.
And what was it about the film that really drew you to it? Are you at a stage now where you've done enough work where you have some choices or some input in the choices that you take? Or is it basically if something gets offered, you're willing to do it to build that resume?
No, I'm very selective about what I audition for and what I work on because I am really passionate about playing characters that can speak to either a certain group of people or a certain age range or people that are going through something specific. So I originally read this script and I immediately fell in love with it because it's not like all the other Christmas movies where it's like, oh, hometown Christmas, the woman falls in love and then they make up and then there's a plot and then they fix it all together. And it's happily ever after. Although it does end in a good ending, it's a different adventure through the story. There's a different arc and each character brings something so completely different. I'm definitely very selective about what roles I want to take on. And what drew me initially to Leia was how relatable she was, trying to stay strong for her mom, but also she's still trying to figure herself out and figure out what her identity is and who she is and what she wants to do and what she wants to be. She's so curious, so emotional, but she's so brave. And that through the story, you figure all that out and you find the depth to her character.
We talked a little bit about how you're treated on set. Has there been anyone in particular that was really mentoring, not because you were, younger, but just relatively new or whatnot? Was there anyone that was particularly took you under their wing, gave you some great advice, or someone that you really looked up to and said, that's the kind of actor I want to grow up to be like?
I love that question. I think that everybody I've worked with has played a different part in my career. They've all taught me something new, and I've always valued that. However, I've met Robert Downey Jr. once, not on set, but at a baby shower actually. And he was really mentoring the moment I met him and through our conversation. And he just kept telling me, like, don't give up. You can't let anybody get inside your thoughts and your head, and you can't let anybody talk down on your dreams, you just can't give up. And I feel like that's such an overstated statement, but it's so underplayed. Like people don't fully take that into account. And so that's been really empowering to me, just remembering that someone out there believes in me. But on every set I've worked on, there's been a couple people that have been truly remarkable in my career and have taught me something new. And I've carried it with me through my journey in acting, and I will forever carry it with me. But there's somebody on every set. I could list them all.
Has there been like a maturing, because acting is a lot of rejection. I mean, I don't know how much you've had, but auditions and rejections are very common. Maybe you've gotten lucky in some of the things that you've done, but overall, it's a lot of turn downs and no thank you, and you're not the right fit. And it's hard not to take that personally, even though it's not necessarily personal, or you could have been great in your audition. You just didn't have what the casting people were looking for. Has that been a maturing thing for you? How has that been like? Because as an adult, we're kind of more used to it, but as someone young and kind of learning the ropes, that has to have an impact on you.
Oh, absolutely. I got so used to being told that I felt like I was never good enough. I felt like there was something wrong with me. And that was why I didn't book all these roles. And through my 9 years of experience so far, and I'm sure I'll continue learning through this, I've learned that there is always a specific look for a character. Even if you don't know it, even if the casting director doesn't know it, there is only one person out there that is meant for this role. And you have to understand that. I've auditioned for things that my friends have auditioned for. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, what did you look like? Just because we're friends and we like to talk about this stuff. And I have this one friend in particular, she did an audition and I did an audition. And her audition looks exactly like what I pictured the character. And I was just kind of trying to go along with it. But I remember just watching it and I was like mesmerized. Because you have to remember it's not about you. It's never about you and your acting and how good you are. It's only about how much of the character we see fit in you. So rejection has definitely been one of the biggest taught things that I've learned. And when you're younger, it's so incredibly easy to take this so personally. But as I've grown up, I've definitely learned that rejection is not about failure. It's just redirection and protection. Every no has taught me something, whether that's patience, humility, or how to bounce back stronger. I've become so resilient from it. And it's made me more grounded and humble and focused on the process rather than the outcome. And I think it's all been worth it.
Now, you said your mom was your number one supporter. Has there been any difficulty as far as, if you're cast to do a role that's set somewhere else? How has that been like as far as moving you around? Because as an adult, I can go wherever I want. I can get it. But for you, it's a little bit more of a process. How has that worked? And how has your family been able to help you achieve the roles that you've been cast in?
I've been so blessed with such an incredible family. My mom and dad are so incredibly supportive of my career. My older siblings all live out of the house, so I haven't really had to worry about like missing them as much. But my mom always takes me. And so filming in other states, which I've done many, many times, I've actually filmed out of state more than in state. Being away from home and adjusting to a new environment, sometimes managing school and personal responsibilities while on set can be really difficult. And I've gotten used to that though, because of my upbringing as a military kid. Moving around has like taught me how to adapt quickly to new places. So I just try to focus on the positive. I try to be grateful for this opportunity. New locations bring new experiences, different people to work with, and it often makes the role even more exciting because I get to work and be a tourist. So I get to do a bunch of things that I love doing. It's been difficult because I've missed my family whenever I'm gone away and filming, but I know they're just a call away. So I usually when I'm on set and out of state, I'll call my dad every single night when I'm done filming, or I'll call my best friend when I'm every single night because I don't get to see them. And but I know that however long. Like, for example, Missouri, A Christmas Mystery was filmed in Missouri for 1 month in December last year. And I remember being away for so long, but I was just like, I'm going to call my best friend or I'm going to call my dad. And I knew they were just a call away. And I also knew that this is just such a short time to embrace this new opportunity and this new adventure to film this movie. And so I think it's hard, but it's really, really cool. It's so fun filming out of state and away from home because you always know that you can come back home.
You had mentioned that you had interest in sports management and stuff like that for schooling. On the acting side of thing, is there any desire to learn writing or directing, or is the acting what you're passionate about and let the directors be the directors?
I've been on the opposite side of the camera before, and it is difficult. Although I think it'd be super fun to direct a film or produce a film. I'm a writer. I write songs and I write poems. I don't know if I'll write a script someday. I think that'd be super cool. And I have no idea what's in store for me, but that could totally be a possibility. Even though my main focus is sports management and acting and performing, I've always been curious about directing. I think storytelling is such a valuable skill, whether that's writing scripts or creating content or even just learning how to express ideas clearly. It's something that I would definitely love to explore more because it complements everything I do creatively and professionally. So we'll never know. We'll never know. This road is I have a long journey ahead of me and I'm excited to see where that takes me, but it could be anywhere. It could lead to any direction.
And how do you find that balance? Because like the sports management, the schooling, the acting, do you see one picking up more than the other? Or is it kind of a teeter-totter where right now I'm going to focus on school because I haven't been getting the roles that I've been wanting, so I'm going to focus on sports management, or I'm getting the role, so I need to ease up on the schooling? How do you find that balance that keeps you going?
Honestly, I'm still figuring it out. There's not always a perfect balance. Some days I feel like I am juggling too much and I feel like I'm doing too much. But I try to prioritize what's most important to me in this moment, which right now it's my school and my college classes and high school classes. It's acting and it's taking classes and it's coaching and it's meeting people and it's networking and it's also like my health. I'm prioritizing that. I'm prioritizing my figure skating career and I'm also prioritizing my downtime. I still like to give myself breaks even though I have so much to do all the time. I think the balance in it all changes every moment of every time. Some weeks are more focused on work and some on school and some are just taking a break. It's never the same and it's never consistent in that sense. But I try not to stress about having it all perfect. Instead, I try to listen to what I, Kylee Levien, really need in this moment and in this week and in this day. And over time, I realized that the balance in my life that I have that I'm going through right now, it's not a set schedule. I don't need a set schedule because that just stresses me out even more. It's just knowing when to push and when to step back and when to enjoy life. And it's knowing the difference and knowing that balance.
Now, not only do you have a busy schedule on your plate, but volunteering is a big thing that's important too, it seems. What got you motivated in giving back to the community and doing community service?
I think it's just so important to give back. And because I think it's so easy to take for granted what we have so easily sometimes and what I'm so privileged to have, which is a home over my head and food on my counter and a car to drive to the rink and a figure skating career and an acting career. And it's so easy to take that all for granted. So I've slowly throughout the years taken a step back and just kind of taken a look at what my perspective is and what's important to me. And I realized that one of those things is giving back to my community and helping in any way, shape, or form that I can. And I think that as long as I'm helping somebody, I'm happy. That fulfills me as a person. And that makes me stronger too. And it humbles me as well. I don't want to have a big ego ever. I don't want anybody to ever think that about me. And I don't want anybody to ever say, oh, I'm too this, I'm too that, or I'm too, egotistical, or I'm too in my head all the time, or I think I'm more privileged than other people, or there's a hierarchy difference. I don't want anybody to ever think that. I just want people to see my kind heart and how much I love giving back to my community. It's so rewarding to me, and it makes me feel like I'm contributing to something that's bigger than myself.
One of the things in Hollywood, as an outsider, I'm from Minnesota, is you always hear the pressures of being a young actor. There's a lot of outside pressure that comes in at you. You're at an age now where the roles are soon to be going to shift from the childhood roles to the young woman roles to the young adult roles. As you kind of reach this phase, how do you stay grounded and stay true to yourself with some of the pressures, and how do you see that transition going? Because the next few years you're going to be the high school actor, the college, sweetheart in a role, a little bit more adult type roles. How do you see that transitioning, and how do you stay grounded and true to yourself without getting caught up in the Hollywood stuff, but also kind of the peer pressures that are out there? Or do you feel those pressures out there? Maybe it's just something that we assume or put onto you.
No, there's definitely the pressures. Not assuming anything. Being a young actor, I mean, the expectations, comparison, social media, the uncertainty of the industry, it's all there, and it's always nagging in my head. But for me, staying grounded comes from remembering why I started in the first place. I focus on the work itself, my family, friends who support me, and the things that make me feel like me outside of acting. I don't wrap my entire personality around one thing, because I know if I did that, then I'd get caught up and I'd get kind of ahead of myself, and I'd get to be in a place where I have no idea what I'm doing, And I try not to let outside opinions define the worth I have in myself and how important I am. And I think that's what helps me stay grounded, just surrounding myself with good people and remembering how important my worth is, and just truly remembering why I started in the first place.
Is there a genre that you've either done a little bit or would like to do? What is a genre that you find especially entertaining for you?
I love this question. I would absolutely love to work on projects that are action-filled. Growing up, some of my favorite films have been the Mission Impossible series or Fast and Furious series, and I've always wanted to be a part of those franchises in any way, shape, or form. But mostly, I love stories that help me connect with people that sometimes don't have a voice. So holiday fun films are always so fun because they just bring joy and happiness and hope. I love adventure stories filled with action and maybe romance and comedy, but I also just love anything with strong characters and a lot of emotions. I have such a soft spot for action and skating related stories. I think it'd be really cool to do a figure skating TV series. Whatever genre may come, but I'm manifesting it today.
Now, you've mentioned a couple of actors that you've met or interacted with, some on set, some, at baby showers of all places. Is there anyone in particular that you would love to work with?
Again, or just anybody?
Anybody or again?
Oh, that's a great question. I would love to work with Phoebe Tonkin or Claire Holt or Nate Buzz. They're all characters from one of my favorite TV series, The Vampire Diaries, and the originals. And I just think that'd be a full circle moment. I think that they bring such vulnerability to each character that they play. And I grew up watching them, so I think it'd be really cool to be in a film with them. And I learned so much from them. They're super authentic on screen. It's not like they're trying to put on a show or trying to perform or trying to do make other people happy. They're just being themselves, and that's what I always have really admired about them.
One of the things, anytime I've done a job interview, I've left the interview going, dang it, I wish they would have asked me about this. And as a young actress, you get all these questions, you do publicity and stuff like that. You're always subject to the questions that we ask you. But is there anything out there that you kind of wish that someone would ask you about because you'd love to talk about it?
I would say if you could design a scene that shows the real you, what would it look like? I think this lets me as a person just talk about personality, creativity, and how I express myself beyond just the roles that I've played. I love the question, if you could name is if your life was a book and you can name the next part of your life a book chapter name, what would the name be? And I think that's a powerful question because it kind of sees where your headspace is at and what's going on up there through all the mumble jumbleness. Um, and I don't know. I don't know. I love getting asked questions I've never been asked before, but I also love like questions that are repeated, like what advice you can give, because I am full of advice. I have so much to tell people, and I always love getting asked that question. If I could give somebody a piece of advice today, I would say just to speak up for yourself. Don't be afraid to do that. Stand firm in what you believe, even if you're standing alone.
So my next exact question was, if you were writing a book and you had a chapter in the next book, what would that chapter be called?
That's a great question.
I came up with it myself.
Right. I would say Skates, Scripts, and Starlight. I think that's kind of a fun alliteration, and it explains my life. I'm all about skating, I'm all about scripts, and I'm all about the Starlight.
Now, I said I wouldn't mention any younger questions, but I do have another one.
You're good.
As you're 16 now, you're doing you're doing some family kind of friendly stuff. So
Yeah.
you're working with other kids. As you're getting older, do you find yourself taking on a mentor role for these younger kids? Do you find that the way that you handle yourself on set, where you view this as a job, does that fall into some responsibility where you find yourself working with these younger kids and being a mentor to them?
Yeah, absolutely. I love the idea of being able to give somebody um a person to look up to. I have a couple girls in my life that are quite younger than me, and they look up to me, and it reminds me that I have such a beautiful life that so many people wish to have. I'm in a career that so many girls out there dream of, and I that helps me never take it for granted, and I would love to be in a position to teach younger kids more about this industry and more about what you're getting yourself into. And I'd love to be that mentor for younger people, and I'd love to work with more younger kids so I can teach them those kinds of things.
And if Steven Spielberg saw you in your latest film, Christmas Mystery, and said, "I loved your passion and your role. I have Steven Spielberg money. What kind of film would you want to do? I'll back it."
Oh, I would be so excited. First of all, Steven Spielberg, come knock on my door. I really, really, really want to work on a show that's all about figure skating and all about either action, love, comedy, whatever genre it may be, because I would love to be able to combine my passion with my career. And I think that's a beautiful thing. And I'm so passionate about figure skating that I hope one day I get to embrace that into a role that I get to play.
Now, you said early on that one of the reasons you got involved into acting was you saw your brother, I believe it was a commercial, and that really motivated you. Now you've done a bunch of films and stuff. Are you guys competitive? Has he just done the commercial? How was that interaction between you two?
So all three of my older siblings did acting when they were younger, and me and my sister and then my brother, one of my sisters, stayed in it the longest, and then they moved on, so they don't do acting anymore. They moved on to other passions and other fun things that keep their life super, super busy. So I'm the only one in the industry still. I think when I was younger, I was never really worried about like that competition because we were always going out for different things. The only time you're going to feel that competition is if you're in the same category as somebody. So if you're twins, I can understand that competition feeling. But when I was younger, I never really acknowledged that. I kind of just moved on, and I just thought it was super cool that we both get to be on TV.
Is that having seen what they did, where
Mhm.
they were in something that you love doing and then were able to walk away, does that give you hope that if anything comes along that you're passionate about or you find that shift, does that make it easier for you to walk away? Or is that a concern to you deep down because you love doing this so much that the idea of walking away right now is kind of scary?
I think there's a balance between both. I think the idea that walking away from my career currently is crazy to me, and I just don't see it happening because I've spent so much of my life, I've spent over half my life working on the screen and doing films like these. And so I think it'd be a little scary to kind of just either give it up or move on to something greater. But I also am so much of a person that's all about like learning everything and anything that comes my way, and any hobby or any new like college degree, whatever it may be, I want to know it all. And so I think I have that balance in my life right now where I have my career, and then I have my education, and then I have myself and my friends and my family. And so I kind of have it all. So I don't know if I would ever give it up. I love it so much, and I see myself doing it for a long time.
And I mean, we all think about the future, but do you
Mhm.
think about where you're going to be in 10 years? Or is where you're at right now so fluid that anything is possible? Or how much do you give to the future and think, 10 years I'm going to be acting
Mhm.
still? Or where's the sports management involved in all this? Where's the figure
Mhm.
skating involved in all this? How much of the future do you look to?
I have always had a 5-year plan for myself, and this year alone, I've learned how much things can change within just a couple months. I've always been the person that's have everything planned out. I've known where I'd want it to be. I know where I want to go to college. I know what I want to do. I know where I want to be in 5 years. I know who I want my friends to be. I know who I want to date. I know everything. And this year alone has taught me so much about not having it all figured out, and that's okay, because that's the beauty of life, and finding what's calling your name. Because today I may say, I want to do sports management, I want to continue figure skating, and tomorrow or next week I could say, nah, I'm going to be a baker. You never know. And so I think about it a lot of where I want to be in 10 years. I just know that I am going to, and I want to have a stable career with a stable income and a stable and a family. My dream has always been to get married right out of college and have kids soon after that. But I also know that with acting, that could be a little difficult because I got to find someone first.
True. Wrapping things up, and again, I thank you for coming on. Right now, you have Christmas Mystery, which is out on Apple TV and Amazon. Is there anything else that fans can look forward to seeing you in soon that you're able to talk about?
I have a Christmas horror film that's going to come out in 2026 called Catnip, and it's the exact opposite of a Christmas story. A Christmas story is all about hometown, feel good, romance, love, Christmas cheery vibes, very merry and bright. And then you have a Catnip, which is dark, it's suspense, it's a thriller, and you get twists and turns thrown at you in every direction. There's lots of blood and lots of cats. That's all I can say, but you got to keep an eye out for that because that'll be out for next year. And that I filmed with Chevy Chase, and that was super, super cool. That was a great
Oh, wow.
experience.
Wow. So
Yeah.
we'll look forward to that. Final question. Again, thank you for coming on. But so much of your work, even at a young age, is attributed to the roles that you've played. The Mayday Malone or Christmas Mystery or your work on, Rebel Moon. But when you get up in the morning
Hmm.
and you go into the bathroom, you splash a little water in your face and look in the mirror, who is it that you see?
I love that. I just see a girl that's just trying to figure it all out. She's just trying to balance it all. She's trying to do her best in everything, even if she's not the best at everything. She's trying her best, and I think that's all that matters. I see Kylee Levien, a girl who just wants to make other people happy and wants to bring joy to people's faces and bring a story that's never been heard of before. I think that's what I see. I see a girl just trying her best and trying to figure it all out.
Well, Kylee Levien, thank you so much for coming on. Again, Christmas Mystery is out on Apple TV and Amazon, so check that out. And look for Catnip in the near future with you and Chevy Chase and Cats. So that will be interesting. But thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing where your career takes you.
Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun.